Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for coming to our channel and thank you for being part of it. Today we are going to talk with Solee and Eliyahu about free will. Very interesting conversation. Please stay with us and listen to it. And leave comments, see what you think. Maybe it wakes up something. Maybe you know someone else that needs a little bit of a thinking about it. We'll appreciate any comments and any likes and any shares. And see you soon. So, free will, guys. What do you think about free will? This is a little conversation with Solee and Eliyahu.
Hello.
G'day.
So, what do you think?
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of
Yeah,
free will?
I'm pro free will. I enjoy it.
What does it mean, though? What does it actually mean for us to have free will? Like, do we really have free will?
To an extent. I mean, the ultimate free will is whether you want to be here or you don't. That's the
Here
ultimate
is in
free will
this
in
planet.
this planet. If you want to be here, that's entirely up to you. The only thing in this world that you truly own is your own life. So every day we make a choice to be here.
But some people don't actually own their life.
Well, they do, because that's the only thing they have any sort of control over. You know?
Not their thoughts more than their life.
No, their actual body. That's all we own in this world is ourselves. And we always have, there's always an out to be really dark about it.
Well, I was wondering about that because, I mean, there's people like hostages. They're being hostage. They can't, they don't have any way of taking their own life and they're stuck there. So in my mind was the only free will they had actually is their thoughts or how they see themselves more than just their body. Because sometimes, or people that are in been in a trauma and now they're unconscious, what you call that. But their mind is not. Like, they come back from it. It's like people that come from near-death experience, all that sort of stuff. Their mind is, or their soul is the freedom that they've got. But I don't know how that connects to free will. What do you think?
Well, I think that we always have the option to respond to any situation we're in the way that we choose to. So that's one expression of free will. But I think if on a broad scale, if you think about humanity, through the ages, so forth, assuming that this whole experience here is about free will, is about an experiment, if you will, in free will, you can see that there have been attempts to dissuade us from the reality of free will.
Okay.
Through history, and I think in a sense, one of the big ones that has continued on through our history is the idea of predestination in terms of the stars.
Like astrology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Humanity has been fed the line that our future is determined. It's all written for us in the stars, which is the opposite of free will. And you have that, and then on a more personal or active body type level. I mean, there's been people through the ages that have been trying to enslave humanity or parts of humanity. I mean, this has been going on. I mean, that's at the root of all these wars that have been. Human history is riddled with wars, and it's been an attempt on the part of people in powerful positions to shut down the free will of the individual. So you can see that there's been, a very, very, very long-term attempt to shut down free will, which in a sense, if you think about that, you look at all these different attempts that there have been to tell us that we don't have free will, in a sense, that speaks volumes about the fact that we do have free will.
But we don't really understand what it is. I mean, do you believe in this astrology thing that we are like you are born to a certain time and
No, so
space?
that sort of goes to the time travel we were talking about a few weeks ago, where it's like you can change the past, but you can't change the future, sort of thing. Like the future is not determined. So I don't believe that's the case. I mean, if astrology has got any power at all, it will show you a future or a predetermined future, but it doesn't necessarily have to be yours.
So it shows you a path that you could take if you wanted to.
Yeah, more or less,
But
I
you
think.
could take another path.
Yeah. And I think also by knowing that if you believe in astrology, if you know what sort of person you're meant to be by the stars, then it's much easier not to be that person.
Yeah. Okay. So like I remember someone was talking. I went to like an astrologist and all this, and I saw all this stuff, and it was all about leadership and being able to show things and in a small amount I could see it. I have 3 kids, and I definitely think I try to show them a life that I thought was good and how to eat better and all that sort of stuff, but I can't see it as a big thing. And so the choices I tried to make was to forget what I'm told and to try and see what the world is asking for me to do every moment. But I just wonder if like this morning when I looked at the free will of the people, I did a meditation, and it was all about free will. How do you wake up free will in people? How do you make them understand that, hey, you can make a choice, like Eliyahu said before. You can make a choice to believe what you're told, or you can make a choice to follow that path that they're putting in front of you and telling you that you have to be really scared and you have to be, whatever. Or you can make a choice and look at it differently. I mean, it's a little bit like...
I mean, free will in itself is that a lot of people, to enforce free will, they only have to know that. A lot of people will continue on the path they're in because it's easier.
Okay.
Regardless, most people know that they can quit their job at any time and go and live in the forest. Most people know they can, in theory.
In theory.
They're still not going to.
I don't think they know they can, though.
Well, they also don't want to, though.
Okay.
Most people just want to be able to live, this is what I've seen anyway, pretty comfortably. They just want food provided for them, fancy gadgets, some company. And that seems to be what most people want. And then if that's what they want and that's what they're getting, then that is free will. Not everyone has to live an alternate lifestyle.
No, but are they aware that they can make a choice? Because the few people that we see, the ones that work really hard and have a huge mortgage and all that sort of stuff. I mean, they believe that this is what they have to do, but do they actually understand or really believe that they have a choice?
I think they do. I mean, everyone knows there is an option. You can leave. You told me something years ago. It was something along the lines of, it was like rules to the game of life. You have the right to enter the game. You have a right to leave the game. You have a right to play the game, and you have a right to change the game. And they're basically your rights of life. That's your free will. You have a right to be here, and you have a right to leave. Yeah. You have a right to live the life you're living, and you have a right to live a different life. And that's, in a nutshell, all there really is to it.
But do people know that? That's what I wonder. Because with all the media and all the advertisement, I mean, you open a YouTube channel and you have an advertisement every 5 seconds of something or other. And most of it shows really happy people doing something that maybe you want to do. Are you still following your free will? Are you actually knowing that? That's what I was asking in the beginning. What is it? What is it that free will?
Well, free will is doing what you want to do.
And that's what my question is. Do people know
What they
what
want to
they wanna
do, well, that's up to the individual. If you want to work a full-time job and you're doing it, great. If you're too dumb to realize you really don't enjoy what you're doing with your life, that's kind of on you.
Okay.
You know, like you have to make the decision for yourself. If someone else says, I'm going to show you how to live another life because I don't think you're happy, that's not free will. That's someone else's opinion. You sort of have to let people live how they want to live. And if you think that person's not really living how they want to live, it's not up to you. It's up to them.
Okay.
The best you can do is, you can ask them, but don't ask them twice.
Okay. But do you think that the people that are here now, as the majority or whatever, are being given that option? Or are they being fed? Because, I mean, with all the bombardment of stuff, people are being fed with something. Do they have time? Do they think that there's actually, do they know? Are they aware of the fact that they have free will? Or is it just a word? We have free will, we can do whatever we like. But
I have a saying which infuriates a lot of my friends. It's, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And it's true. I don't do anything impossible, but that's the case. If they don't want to think about life, the universe and everything, then that's fine. They can just keep on living. I still have a consistent theory that most people aren't really there at all. They're maybe their soul's there and just watching just for the experience, like a TV show. Not everyone lives their life. Some people just watch it.
okay. What about you, Eliyahu? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is valid. I also noticed that, again, looking at the sweep of history, the things that I mentioned before, like, the myth of everything's predetermined in the stars and so forth. We get conditioned or programmed into thinking things that limit our perception of our choices. Our choices still exist, but conditioning that's around us functions, if we buy into it, to limit our perception of our choices. So it goes with the job situation. You get a mortgage on the house, a mortgage on a car, or you call it a mortgage or not, but a loan on a car and so forth, and you have bought into boxing yourself in, so your choices become more limited than they would have been otherwise. I remember a moment back when I was in the States. I had finally paid off the loan that for buying my caravan, and all the loans that I had were paid off, and I had this sort of moment of euphoria, realizing, hey, I can do anything I want to. I mean, I always could have, but getting out of the entanglement of what the pressures that the system are putting on you, whether the system is expressed by banks or governments or religious institutions or whatever it is. I think we are free. We have the capacity to choose, but we do live in a context in which we keep getting bombarded with messages that limit our capacity to even realize we have choices, so forth. So I suppose in a sense that the challenge more than ever today, when we're approaching a moment when we actually have the possibility of freeing ourselves, not just as individuals but as a planet, from these things, from these snares and so forth, is to stand up and celebrate every freedom as it comes, and celebrate the demise of every force that tries to ensnare us and take our freedom away. But, what comes along with all of that is responsibility. Like, the less freedom we have represents the ceding of more and more of our responsibility to somebody else. So the more we take back our freedom, the more
responsibility we have on
more
ourselves.
responsibility we have for ourselves.
Which is what I've always said to the kids, that freedom costs, because that was one of the things I remember. I say it again and again and again. The minute you have, the minute you're free, you don't owe any money, you don't, blah, blah, blah. It does cost you something because your life is different. You actually have the responsibility to eat and drink and find your food and
it's very hard.
And it's very hard, to keep yourself warm and to, if you want electricity, to provide yourself with some sort of thing or whatever it is you want in your life, and mostly to think for yourself. Like suddenly somebody tells you something and you've got the freedom to think for yourself. Is this thing right or not for myself? And do I choose to look at it this way? Do I choose to fall into a heap and go, oh my God, the world is going to fall apart? Or am I choosing to say, my world is not falling apart? I'm actually able to live and see the sunshine and hear birds and enjoy the choughs or the apostles or whoever is coming my way and go, oh my God. And that making of those choices cost, because you're different, or because other people not necessarily see it your way, or they think you're weird, or you dress weird because now you're not going to spend that amount of money on clothes, so you're going to dress up a little bit different, or because you want to dress up because it's comfortable for you, or because you have to wash your own clothes in bicarbonate soda and vinegar because you're not going to spend money on horrible soap because that water wants to go back in the ground. You don't want to poison the ground. So all this stuff gets together and you realize that freedom that you are having is actually, like you said, it costs you something. It's right. That's what you're finding. Like your life is different. You're making choices that are different to other people. You don't have that warm house, and you have to build your own house, for heaven's sake. That's a big thing.
I've talked to a lot of people who go like, "Oh, I'd really love to do what you're doing," and I say to them, "Well, go on, then. It's not. I mean, it is hard, but it's not impossible." And then I see a lot of other people, and they go, "I'd never want to do that."
Yeah,
they just want the comfort of a big house with central heating and lights that turn off and on, and water that they don't have to measure when they pour it, and that sort of thing. And that's okay as well.
Yeah. I mean, you still, when you think about it, you still have comforts. I mean, you have a car. I have a car. We have comforts. It might not be the same as living in a 5-star hotel where you've got servants coming and you can knock on the door, you can pick up the phone and say, I want this food or that food, or blah, blah, blah. But again, that sort of lifestyle usually comes with a lot of debts. There's not many people, even really, really wealthy people, and we knew a couple of them, don't have actual money. Most of their wealth is stuck in land or in this or in that, and they have this perpetual debt mixing thing. It's not, they're not free. In other words, there's no freedom there. Even though they look free, they have a Ferrari and they do this and that. So, yeah, I just wonder how what message we are trying to give out there, and if there is a way of putting the message out there that yes, freedom costs, but the ability to feel that, like you said, Eliyahu, the ability to go, oh my God, I can do whatever I want. I don't owe anybody anything. I got my car, I got this. Yes, I have to. How do you put that out there? Or maybe you don't need to, like Solee said. You don't have to, because everybody can do whatever they want, and if they're happy in their little hole, that's fine.
Also, if if the amount of freedom or the amount of free will that you express, some people might start off I was in a relatively comfortable house. I'm not in myself, but the house itself was comfortable, I suppose. And to where I am now is only it's a medium drop down. For people who are living in that 5-star type life, if they just want a little bit of freedom, it's probably easier for them to drop down to a smaller house and no mortgage than most other people. But it's very hard, I think, for most people to think of it as going backwards. Everyone wants more comfort and more things and more whatever it is they have, money, I suppose. it's much harder for people to go backwards and go, all right, well, I want more time to myself and to do more things that I enjoy.
So you're saying it's harder for them to see what they say is backwards to be actually forward. The step that they're taking of having something smaller but having more freedom is actually a step forward.
It's
But they don't see
not
it like
necessarily what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is the more you have, the more you feel like you've got something to lose by going backwards.
Okay.
For me, I've always wanted a little house because I like a little house. It's easy to keep clean. It's easy to keep cozy. It's got this personal feel to it. So when I had a big house, it was just stressful. I never liked my big house.
And
Whereas a lot of people want a big house and then they want a bigger house. I'm not sure why. But for them to go, oh, I really want freedom. Their idea of freedom is not going to be the same as my idea of freedom as well.
Yeah.
This might be an ongoing issue with the world, that everyone wants more rather than just what they need. But it also might
So
be...
that's a perspective. Like you're saying everyone wants more. For me, the way we are living now is way more than what I lived before. So I see more as having no mortgage, living in a small place that I don't have to spend all my time trying to sort it out. Even that is too messy for me, and having my own garden. And I mean, I see that as more.
Yeah, no, I do as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of people
will
see that as less.
Yeah, that's right. So it's more thinking, trying to find a way of coming each one to understanding what is more and what is less for their life, their own self. Yeah, sorry, Eliyahu. But did you have something to say about that one?
Well, just an observation, I guess. You're describing a cluster of choices that sort of fit into some kind of a picture that you have in your mind about what's good, what you prefer.
Yeah.
And other people, as Solee was mentioning, may very well have a very different cluster of choices in their mind that represent, what they think would be optimal. Yeah. And that in itself is part of the choice.
So a different perspective.
That we're talking about. Yeah. I mean, we don't all necessarily come to this planet to experience the same thing.
Yeah.
And so that's just an illustration of it, I guess.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to stop here because we've been sitting here for a while. But we will come back to a conversation about perspective, and we will come back about a conversation about other being from other planets, because that sounds like it sort of dripped in slowly into this conversation, but never went anywhere. So it'll be interesting to talk about that. Thank you so much, Solee. Thank you so much, Eliyahu. Thank you so much, people. Thank you, guys. That was fantastic. Really appreciate you being with us. I hope to see you soon. And please like and share and subscribe. By the way, some of this pottery is made by Wavy Forest, and she has got a website called Made by Wavy. She always makes some beautiful jewelry. So please visit it, and we'll talk soon.